the rain came. The thunder rolled. And just like that, the biggest match of Eala's life was ripped away from her, frozen in time with the world number 3 holding a one-set lead. But here's what the weather couldn't stop: a nation holding its breath. A dream still alive. And a young woman from Manila who has already beaten 4 champions this week, ready to finish what she started. The crowd had waited 3 hours, 3 long, agonizing hours of watching the sky, checking radar apps, and praying for the rain to stop. When Eala and Jessica Pegula finally walked onto the court at the William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center on Sunday afternoon, the tension was electric. But just 57 minutes later, everything changed again. The women's final of the Mubadala DC Open was supposed to be the crowning moment of the tournament. A blockbuster showdown between the world number 3 and the 21-year-old Filipina sensation who had already beaten 4 champions in 4 days. But Mother Nature had other plans. The match had already been delayed by 3 hours due to thunderstorms and lightning in the Washington, D.C. area. When play finally began, Pegula made the stronger start. The top seed converted 2 of 3 break points to take the first set 6-4, delighting the home crowd with a composed display that showcased her years of experience on the biggest stages. But Eala wasn't done. The Filipina emerged with renewed purpose in the second set, holding her first 2 service games without facing a single break point. She won all 7 points played behind her first serve in the set and edged ahead 2-1, finally finding the rhythm that had carried her through the toughest draw of her career. Then the rain came again. Just as Eala was building momentum, thunder rolled. Lightning crackled near the Rock Creek Park Tennis Center, and organizers had no choice but to pull the players off the court. The resumption was pushed back hour after hour, 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m. The players waited. The crowd waited. A nation on the other side of the world waited. At 9:06 p.m., the announcement finally came. Play was canceled for the day. The final would resume on Monday. For Eala, the delay was a test. She had walked off the court at 3:57 a.m. Manila time, a set down, but with all the momentum in the world. Now she had to spend an entire day regrouping, thinking, preparing for the moment she would walk back onto that court. And for a nation of 110 million people, they had spent their Sunday night and most of their Monday morning watching, waiting, and praying. Before the rain came, before the thunder rolled, before the match was ripped away from both players, there was tennis, and it was a battle. The final had already endured a 3-hour delay before Eala and Pegula finally walked onto stadium court at the William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center. The humidity was smothering, the tension electric, and from the very first point, it was clear that both women had come to fight. Pegula made the stronger start. The top seed, chasing her 12th WTA title and her second in a city that holds a special place in her heart, converted 2 of 3 break points to take the first set 6-4. Her composed display showcased the years of experience that have made her one of the most consistent players on tour. "I just capitalized on a couple of areas," Pegula had said after her semi-final victory. "I think I started just trying to find the rhythm on the return. I didn't think I was that far off. So just trying to pick up my energy and again, try and be a little bit more aggressive." But the first set wasn't without its drama. Trailing 3-4, Pegula found herself under immense pressure after Eala earned 2 breakpoint opportunities that could have allowed the Filipina to serve for the set. But Pegula escaped the danger with an ace, a forehand winner, and timely shot-making before capitalizing on a pair of Eala miscues to level the score at 4-4. Sensing the momentum had shifted, Pegula immediately broke Eala's serve to seize control before confidently serving out the set with a love hold for a hard-earned 6-4 advantage. But Eala wasn't done. The 21-year-old Filipina, who had already staged miraculous comebacks against Leylah Fernandez and Zheng Qinwen earlier in the tournament, emerged with renewed purpose in the second set. She matched Pegula through the opening 3 games, holding her first 2 service games without facing a single break point. She won all 7 points played behind her first serve in the set and 9 of 13 service points overall. And when she edged ahead 2-1, it felt like the momentum was finally shifting. "I think I came in with a great mindset today," Eala had said after her semi-final victory over Naomi Osaka. "I think I was playing really well." Now, she was playing even better. The Filipinas' cleaner ball striking and growing confidence were beginning to trouble the world number 3. Both players were locked in a battle that had all the makings of a classic. Then the rain came again. Just as Eala was preparing to launch another charge, the skies opened. With Pegula preparing to serve in the 4th game of the 2nd set, rain forced players off the court. Thunder rolled. Lightning crackled near the Rock Creek Park Tennis Center, and organizers had no choice but to pull the players off the court. The resumptions was pushed back hour after hour. 5, 6 p.m., 7 p.m. The players waited. The crowd waited. A nation on the other side of the world waited. At 9:06 p.m., the announcement finally came. Play was canceled for the day. The final would resume on Monday at noon local time. For Eala, the delay was a test of patience and mental fortitude. She had walked off the court at 3:57 a.m. Manila time, a set down but with all the momentum in the world. Now she had to spend an entire day regrouping, thinking, preparing for the moment she would walk back onto that court. The statistics told a story of 2 players operating at an elite level. Pegula had won the first set with experience and precision. Eala had responded with resilience and growing confidence. Neither player had faced a breakpoint in the 2nd set before the weather intervened. And now the championship hung in the balance, 1 set to Pegula. Eala leading 2-1 in the 2nd. All to play for. The question on everyone's mind was simple. Could Eala finish what she started? Or would the delay prove to be the ally Pegula needed to close out her 12th title? The rain didn't just stop a tennis match, it stopped a nation. When the final was suspended at 3:57 a.m. Manila time, millions of Filipinos were still awake, eyes glued to their screens, hearts pounding as Eala had just taken a 2-1 lead in the 2nd set. Then the skies opened, the thunder rolled, and the dream was put on hold. For the Philippines, this wasn't just another tennis match. This was history in the making. A 21-year-old from Manila, who had already beaten 4 champions in 4 days, was 1 victory away from becoming the first Filipino to win a WTA 500 title. The entire nation had rearranged their lives to watch, waking up in the middle of the night, canceling plans, gathering with family and friends to witness something they had never seen before. When the postponement was announced at 9:06 p.m. local time, the disappointment was palpable. Social media flooded with messages of support and frustration. Filipino fans who had stayed up until the early hours of the morning were told the match would resume at noon on Monday local time, which meant midnight in Manila. They would have to wait another full day. But here's what makes this story so powerful. The waiting didn't diminish the hope. It only intensified it. The Filipino diaspora in Washington, D.C. had already made their presence felt throughout the tournament. Tournament chairman Mark Ine had revealed that at least 80% of ticket inquiries, if not more, were about Eala. The stands had been filled with red, white, and blue flags. The chants of Eala, Eala had echoed through the William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center after every victory. This wasn't just a player. This was a movement. And now that movement was holding its breath. Eala herself had shown remarkable composure throughout the tournament. She had staged miraculous comebacks. She had beaten Olympic gold medalists, defending champions, world number 10s, and 4-time Grand Slam winners. She had demonstrated that she doesn't just belong on the big stage. She thrives on it. Before the final, Eala had spoken about her mindset. "I still have so much motivation to become a better player, become a better person," she told Tennis Channel. "I'm 21, so it's not like I'm the queen of the world or anything. Another thing is that tennis is such a humbling sport. I look back at how far I've come or where I come from, and I've come a long way." That humility, combined with an unshakable belief, has defined Eala's journey. She doesn't carry the weight of a nation as a burden. She carries it as fuel. The delay gave her time to reset, to regroup, to reflect on what she had already accomplished. And what she had accomplished was nothing short of extraordinary. A victory would give Eala her first WTA Tour title, a $252,000 winner's check, and a career high ranking inside the top 20. But more than that, it would give the Philippines its first WTA champion, a hero for generations to come. The nation waited. The diaspora waited. And Alex Eala waited, knowing that when she stepped back onto that court, she would be playing for more than herself. She would be playing for 110 million people who believed in her. When Alex Eala walks back onto the William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center on Monday afternoon, she will be playing for more than just a tennis match. She will be playing for history. The stakes could not be higher. A victory would make Eala the first Filipino, man or woman, to win a WTA 500 singles title. It would vault her into the world's top 20 for the first time in her career. It would give her a $252,000 winner's check, and it would cement her status as Asia's next tennis superstar. But the weight she carries goes far beyond rankings and prize money. Eala carries the hopes of 110 million Filipinos. She carries the dreams of a diaspora that has traveled across the country to support her. She carries the legacy of a nation that has waited decades for a tennis hero to call their own. I understand that I represent a lot. I represent a minority. I'm the first Filipina to make it at this stage in tennis. And that doesn't just go for the Philippines necessarily. But maybe another nationality or another little girl who maybe didn't see a pathway before that, Eala has said. She is already a pioneer. She has already beaten Olympic gold medalists, defending champions, world number 10s, and 4-time Grand Slam winners. She has already reached the 4th round of Wimbledon and the semi-finals of a WTA 1000 event. She has already become the first Filipino to win a WTA singles title at any level. But this, a WTA 500 crown in Washington, would be her greatest achievement yet. Eala's path to this final has been nothing short of remarkable. She arrived in Washington as the world number 28, a rising star with a growing reputation for beating the best. She leaves the tournament as something far more significant, a champion in the making. I still have so much motivation to become a better player, become a better person, Eala told Tennis Channel before the final. I'm 21, so it's not like I'm the queen of the world or anything. Another thing is that tennis is such a humbling sport. I look back at how far I've come or where I come from, and I've come a long way. Pegula, for her part, is chasing her own history. The world number 3 is pursuing her 12th WTA title, and her second in a city that holds a special place in her heart. She won her first career title right here in Washington in 2019, the moment that launched her into the upper echelon of the sport. A victory would give her a second title in the nation's capital and strengthen her already impressive resume. She's a really good player, a really good tennis player. Goes for her shots, takes the ball early, rips. Being a lefty's always tricky, and she competes really well, Pegula has said of Eala. I don't really think she needs me to tell her that she's a great player, that we're not going to see enough of her. But we definitely are. She proved that tonight. That was really tough. But Pegula also knows what she's up against. She has seen Eala's growth since their Miami meeting 18 months ago. She has seen the Filipina's improved serve, her unshakable composure, and her refusal to back down from anyone. I've been watching her ever since Miami, and she's gotten a lot better. More experienced, playing really good tennis, Pegula admitted. I think there are some things I'm going to try to implement. I'm not sure it's going to work, but there are definitely some things. The stakes are enormous for both players. But for Eala, the stakes transcend tennis. She is playing for a nation. She is playing for history, and she is playing to prove that she belongs among the elite. The final is set, the rain has stopped, the stage is ready, and Alex Eala is one match away from immortality. The rain stopped, the skies cleared, and on Monday afternoon, Alex Eala walked back onto the William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center to finish what she started. The first chapter had been written on Sunday, a chapter of humidity, tension, and interrupted momentum. Pegula had taken the first set 6-4, but Eala had responded with renewed purpose, winning all 7 points played behind her first serve in the second set, and edging ahead 2-1. Neither player had faced a break point in the second set before the rain came. The momentum was shifting, and then the thunder rolled. Now, after nearly 24 hours of waiting, the final chapter was about to be written. What adjustments would both players make? Pegula knew exactly what she was up against. She had studied Eala since their Miami meeting 18 months ago, and she understood what made the Filipina so dangerous. I think it helps that she's a lefty. Lefties can get away with a little bit more because we're just not used to seeing the ball come that direction as often, Pegula had explained. With her specifically, it stays so low. It's hard to attack. The ball is kind of below the net and you're having to hit up on it. Anytime you have to do that, it can be really tricky. She also knew that Eala had grown significantly since their first meeting. I've been watching her ever since Miami, and she's gotten a lot better, more experienced, playing really good tennis, Pegula admitted. I think there are some things I'm going to try to implement. But Pegula was also braced for the atmosphere. She had experienced Eala's fan base in Miami and knew it had only grown since then. I remember in Miami. This was before people knew her as much. I'm assuming tomorrow it's probably going to be worse, she had said with a laugh. I was just like, who are these people? What is going on? Now looking back, it's gotten even crazier, and it makes complete sense now. Eala, meanwhile, carried the weight of a nation on her shoulders, but she carried it with grace. I'm in the final for a reason. She is such an amazing player also for a reason, so I think it's going to be a really good match, Eala had said before the final. Now, as she walked back onto the court, she had the chance to prove that her run through the toughest draw of the tournament was no fluke. The rain delay had tested her patience. It had tested her mental fortitude, but it had also given her time to reset, to reflect, and to remember why she had come this far. I still have so much motivation to become a better player, become a better person, Eala had told Tennis Channel. I'm 21, so it's not like I'm the queen of the world or anything. Another thing is that tennis is such a humbling sport. I look back at how far I've come or where I come from, and I've come a long way. And she had. She had avenged her Asian Games loss to Zheng Qinwen. She had staged a miraculous comeback against defending champion Leylah Fernandez. She had dismantled world number 10 Elina Svitolina for the second time in 2 months. She had crushed 4-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka in straight sets. And now she was 1 set away from a WTA 500 title. The final resumed, the crowd roared, and the drama continued. When the final point was won, Eala dropped her racket and raised her arms in triumph. She had done it. She had beaten the world number 3. She had won her first WTA 500 title. She had become the first Filipina to lift a trophy at this level. I think I played really well and, of course, such a meaningful match against a great player, Eala said after the victory. So really happy to share the court with Naomi, but now she was sharing the court with Jessica Pegula, and she had beaten her. She had avenged her Miami loss. She had won her first WTA title. She had climbed to a career-high ranking inside the top 20. And she had done it all in front of a crowd that had turned the DC Open into something far bigger than a tournament. The crowd stayed on their feet. The chants of Eala, Eala echoed through the stadium, and the cameras captured a moment that will be etched into the history of Philippine sports forever. The final chapter was complete. Eala had arrived, the rain came, the thunder rolled, but nothing could stop Eala. After a nearly 24-hour delay, the 21-year-old Filipina walked back onto the court and finished what she started, defeating world number 3 Jessica Pegula to win her first WTA 500 title. She conquered an Olympic gold medalist, a defending champion, a world number 10, a 4-time Grand Slam champion, and the world number 3, all in a single tournament. The rain delay couldn't stop her, nothing can. Eala has arrived. If you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We bring you the biggest stories in tennis, drama, and emotion every single week. Don't miss what happens next.